The system is completely freaking rotten. Opt out, buy Bitcoin. It's really that simple. The Pandora Papers leak exposes yet again the insane hypocrisy of the global elites and that they are lying to you all of the time. Also, some more optimistic news today as a raft of new countries is looking to pass cryptocurrency legislation. And of course, we'll dive into the technicals as Bitcoin is nearing $50,000. My name's Lark. Every day I make videos talking about cryptocurrency investing, so if that's a topic you would like to learn some more about, make sure you subscribe to the Lark Davis channel, click on the notification bell so you know when I put out new videos, and of course, tap on that thumbs up button for the YouTube algorithm. Now let's go ahead and turn over to the charts to get started off with. We can see here Bitcoin has now closed a daily candle above that resistance. We were just talking about this important line of resistance right here yesterday. We have now closed our daily candle above that on rising volume as well, which is pretty good. We did get up to nearly $50,000 today, $49,750 approximately, before we saw resistance coming into play. That, as I was mentioning yesterday, is our next key zone for resistance for Bitcoin. Next, we need to conquer this line right here. This is the key line for us right now, because when we conquer this line, that essentially means that we are broken out of the downtrend and we can start talking about potentially reclaiming the previous all-time high and moving on to claim new all-time highs as October continues its way forward. And of course, Q4, as I've been saying, likely to be very, very bullish. So we need to see our daily candle close here really above $51,000. Currently is approximately the line to beat. If we delay further, maybe we get down. But $50,000 by the end of the month, I think that would be a very, very positive daily candle close. It could happen in a day or two, right? But we have just had a massive, massive run. So maybe we come back down, maybe retest this resistance right here, flipping it into support. We'll see how it goes over the next few days. But that is our line. That is what we need to break over. Once we crack over this descending line here of resistance, once we cross over that, that starts a new trend. That brings us to October and Moon-vember and December. So chart's looking pretty good right now. I like what I'm seeing here. We'll see, of course, how that plays out over the next few days, but it has been a very, very strong move after that initial breakout just a few days ago at the start of the month. Now, this is what I wanted to share with you. We've talked about this before. This is from Tech Dev. He shared this over on Twitter. I've shared this chart with you before. He's reposting it now, so we'll just share the one that he's sharing with you here. But it is astonishing what is happening right now with Bitcoin, because it is following along with the path of gold in such a fascinating way. I mean, this is obviously a different time frame chart here for gold, but you can see how the Bitcoin market has been following along with that, got up to our $1.2 trillion market cap, had our big corrective period, now getting ready for the launch pad. History does not repeat, but man, it sure does rhyme. Just look at that. Very, very fascinating stuff here. Now, this would essentially show that we're going to have a slightly lengthening cycle in this situation where we have the all-time high not coming in until early 2022. So this chart here puts it around January, February approximately for that happening. Now, what would be a catalyst that would see that kind of a price explosion? Of course, the Bitcoin ETF. Ironically, what happened with gold? When did gold start surging like crazy? Well, that happened after a Bitcoin, or sorry, not a Bitcoin ETF, but a gold ETF was approved for gold. So that happened probably around here on the charts, after which, of course, we saw the price surging like crazy. What's interesting, too, is that brings us up to the Fibonacci pocket, where Bitcoin has topped out in both past Bitcoin cycles. So that gives us, as we have been saying for a very long time, As I've been talking about since the start of the year, we could be seeing Bitcoin topping out between $180,000 to $200,000, potentially even a little bit more at the blow off top. That's by the end of the year, likely rolling over into early next year sometime. Q4, going to be crazy. Q1 2022, that's probably going to be the peak. Based, again, on historical analysis of charts, looking at these patterns playing out again and again and again that they do in the markets, right? So you can't say this is definitely what the future is going to be, but this is what has happened many, many times before in a similar scenario and what could happen this time. So I think a lot of people are watching for this right now. And look, you might say, oh, but Lark, everybody's watching it, therefore it's likely not going to happen, right? You might think that, but realistically, most people are still not involved in the market. We're going to have a bunch of new people coming into the market. The greed's going to go crazy. The money's going to go crazy. A Bitcoin ETF will, of course, make that happen. You also have to realize a lot of people don't think it's going to happen. Yeah, you have the chart guys and, some of us content creators who are talking about this, but a lot of people are still out there in complete denial of this. They think this is a complete unrealistic scenario. Bitcoin's never going to go over $100,000. Bitcoin's definitely never going over $200,000. The bear market's already here. The Federal Reserve is never going to let it get that high. The Wall Street's never going to let it get that high. I've heard it all. I've heard it all for years. Back when Bitcoin was still under $20,000, I literally had to deal with years of people saying, Bitcoin is never going to get a new all-time high. It's over. It's done. It's never coming back. The powers that be are keeping it down. There's a lot of people who don't believe this is going to happen, and those people are going to be stuck on the sidelines when it does. I'm glad that I own Bitcoin right now, personally. By the way, if you want to earn some passive income on your Bitcoin, you got to check out Celsius. You can earn 6.2% on your Bitcoin, 5.35% on your Ethereum, and 8.88% on your dollar stablecoins. Use the link down below to start your account, and you will get a $50 Bitcoin bonus when using the code LARK. Now, let's get into the news. So, half of El Salvador is now using Bitcoin. So 3 million Salvadorans are now using the Chivo Bitcoin wallet. So what that means is that within about a month of El Salvador giving Bitcoin to their citizens, there are now more people in El Salvador with a Bitcoin wallet than with a bank account. Remember, 70% of El Salvador unbanked. Bitcoin is literally banking the unbanked in El Salvador, giving these people financial freedom and financial options. This is super cool. Also, a nice little bit of incentive to get people to go out and to use Bitcoin is that if you are living in El Salvador, you'll get 20 cents off per liter of fuel when paying for your fuel using Bitcoin. Very cool way, of course, to incentivize people to get out there and actually use Bitcoin, try Bitcoin, spend Bitcoin. Nice. I like it. I like it a lot. Now, El Salvador has been doing very, very well, to be honest, with their Bitcoin initiative so far, and it's catching attention. People are paying attention to what is going on in El Salvador. It's the test case, and people want to see how it plays out. And I think we are seeing a lot of countries going, wow, that's actually really interesting. We need to get on board. Tonga might be the next country to legalize Bitcoin. Small Pacific island nation. Beautiful little place, stuck in the middle of the Pacific. You might think, oh, come on, Lark, it's just a little country. That's not such a big deal. Who cares if Tonga does it? I care if Tonga legalizes Bitcoin, because Bitcoin should be for everybody, everywhere. Tonga is a country that has a lot of migrant workers who come to New Zealand and Australia, other countries, and they send money home. And how do they send money home? Using dirty rip-off middlemen like Western Union. Legalizing Bitcoin, letting people accept Bitcoin payments, and creating the rails for Bitcoin remittances would be a massive thing for Tonga. It would bring a lot more money into the country, because right now, basically, you have Western Union robbing an entire nation of their wealth. Bitcoin fixes that problem. Fixed it in El Salvador. It's going to fix it in Tonga, too. Uruguay also one step closer to releasing comprehensive cryptocurrency regulations. Now, they've been talking about this for a bit. It's not necessarily a new story, but it's a new story that they are getting closer to bringing those crypto regulations out. Now, we don't think that they're going to go the legal tender route like they did in El Salvador, but we could see Bitcoin basically being legalized for payments within the country, so you can buy and sell stuff using cryptocurrencies, not just Bitcoin, of course, any cryptocurrencies, or perhaps a short range of cryptocurrencies, but certainly not just Bitcoin. But we're coming. It's now, and again, it's another little nation. I think, oh, Uruguay, Lark, it's just a little South American country, right? It's just a little country. It's just a company. It's just this. It's just that. And before you know it, it's everywhere. Everyone is using it. We're seeing other countries getting on board too, because you know what? It's not all just little countries. Little countries count too. I like little countries. They're important. Everyone should have access to crypto and have crypto freedom. But I got a big country for you too, okay, all you guys out there want a bigger country. Brazil looking to legally recognize cryptocurrency for payments. So as they say here, soon Brazilians will be able to buy houses, cars, even McDonald's using cryptocurrencies. Big stuff. That's big stuff. Brazil's it's one of the world's biggest economies. It's one of the world's biggest population countries, and 250 million people, something like that in Brazil. Absolutely massive. Now, Brazil, very interesting. They've been pushing those cryptocurrency innovations, right? They're the second country to launch a Bitcoin ETF. America, come on, man, get with it. Brazil, here we go. This will be massive if it passes. It's in bill stage, obviously. We need to get it passed into law, et cetera, et cetera. Man, this is a cool step in a great direction. It puts Brazil in a great situation for so many things, for people being able to have financial freedom within the country, remittances, all that kind of stuff. So that's big. That's a really, really big story. I'm really excited to see that. Let's watch, of course, how it plays out, see if the bill gets passed, see what the final wording of that bill is when it does pass. We're seeing positive regulations coming from a lot of countries, which is important to underline because, yeah, I know the whole China thing happened. It was negative. And I know the USA, it's a mixed bag sometime of positive things happening, like with Texas. We were talking about that yesterday. And then on the other hand, you have, the bad infrastructure deal and you have the SEC. But generally, US, not like anti-crypto. They just want to regulate the heck out of it. They want to be in control of what's going on with crypto, make sure they get all their tax money. But it's nice to see these other countries innovating as well at a regulatory level. Final story for today. The Pandora Papers. The follow-up to the Panama Papers and the Paradise Papers and all the other leaks that have happened over the last years. But here we go. This is an interesting story. I just want to share it with you quickly. I'm sure you've already heard a bit about it, but basically this shows that the richest and most powerful people in the world are hiding all of their assets offshore. Not that it's any real surprise that this is happening. Obviously, it's an open secret. Everybody knows it goes on. We're talking world leaders here. We have, the president of Russia. We have the king of Jordan. We have, I think, a guy who's running for prime minister in the Czech Republic. It's crazy. Lots of people, right, who are buying properties, storing wealth, hiding it all in offshore accounts. A lot of this has just been exposed. And I just wanted to bring this up because it just makes you realize how disgusting and rotten the entire political establishment is globally. All of these dirtbags are out there. What do? They're passing laws. They're working with regulators. They're out there saying, cryptocurrencies are used for money laundering. Therefore, it's bad. We have to crack down on it. Cryptocurrencies are used for crime. Oh, this crime's going on with cryptocurrency. Oh, it's used to offshore money. Cryptocurrencies are used to avoid taxes. All of that is true, by the way. It's just that the amount of it happening is like a tiny, tiny, tiny fractional amount, because when you realize that cryptocurrencies are blockchains and it's all freaking public, you realize that doing any kind of nefarious activities using cryptocurrencies, except Monero, obviously, but using anything else, Bitcoin, Ethereum, stablecoins, it's a terrible idea because it's all traceable back to you. However, the dollars, the banks, it's all super opaque. It's all happening in the dark. We have the world leaders out there lecturing you all the time. You have to, pay all your taxes. And they're passing all these things to make sure that if anybody with over like $600, I think, in payment apps in the USA are going to have to report that to the authorities. All of this stuff, they're going after crypto in a massive way. They're saying all this crime's happening in crypto, but here's the reality of what the Pandora Papers showed. Those people are raging hypocrites. The political elites, they're lying to you. They're lying to you. They're hypocrites. They're doing the old-fashioned do as I say, not as I do. They're treating everybody like peasants. It's ridiculous. These guys are literally using banks and the dollars, right? The fiat money system, the opaque fiat money system, the corrupt tax loopholes that they themselves write into law. Right through the front door of a bank, they're money laundering, they're committing all kinds of financial crimes, they're offshoring their money, they're avoiding taxes that they're telling you to pay. The politicians, the political elites, the financial elites, these guys are all working together to make sure they don't have to pay any taxes. They put all their stuff in trusts overseas. Meanwhile, regular people, you're left to pick up the bill. And they tell you that you're the one who's responsible for all the bad stuff happening in the country. You're the one who has to be aggressively sought. Meanwhile, these are literally the people doing the tax avoidance, doing the money laundering, doing the crime. Opt out, man. It's a broken system. Thank God we have Bitcoin. When I read stories like this whole Pandora thing, I'm so happy to be a Bitcoin holder. I know crypto's not perfect. We've got our own stuff that happens here, but man, it sure is better than the banking system, because that is rotten and dirty, and it's not getting any better because the people in charge of regulating it are the ones who are using it to commit crime. There you go. Anyway, just my 2 Satoshis for the day. Your question: which country do you think is going to adopt Bitcoin as legal tender next? Is it going to be some tiny little nation like Tonga? Is it going to be a big country? Maybe Brazil's going to go the full legal tender route. Maybe somewhere in between. Maybe it's going to be Singapore or Switzerland or something like that. Curious to know your answer down below in the comments section. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and peace out till next time.